The very last demonstration of the day. It's my honor to introduce to you a remarkable individual whose passion for art, education, and sustainability has shaped her into a visionary force. Anna's journey began with humble yet profound roots, nurtured by a childhood fascination with craft work that evolved into a lifelong exploration of creative expression. From her early days of spool knitting and cat's cradle, Anna's curiosity led her to master a plethora of craft techniques, from rug hooking to garment making and everything in between. Her dedication to honing her skills took her to the prestigious Halliburton School of the Arts Summer Institute for over 2 decades, where she delved into diverse disciplines such as drawing, painting, poetry, and even Lutheran. Anna's career as an arts educator, spanning over 15 years, has been a testament to her commitment to integrating the arts into education seamlessly. As an educational consultant at the Visual Arts Center of Clarington, she pioneered artist residencies in schools, revolutionizing the way art is intertwined with core subjects for innovative learning experiences. One of Anna's most captivating endeavors is her recent pursuit of a fiber artist certificate, where she delves into designing clothing that not only adorns the body, but also nurtures the soul. Her advocacy for using natural fibers, particularly lensing Tencel, reflects her deep-rooted ethos of intentional living and sustainability. Today, Anna brings her unique perspective to Planted with her talk titled, Be More Plant. Through this enlightening discourse, she shares insights on how we can infuse more nature into our lives, transcending the anxieties of climate change with proactive and empowering strategies.
We have become a society that believes that we are alone with a wall between us and the natural world. The degree of separation between humankind and nature has never in the history of our species been quite so extreme. And each of us is less likely to see nature as in wilderness, devoid of the impact of human beings. Attendees of Planted Expo, you who speak for the animals, today I would like to turn your attention a little bit to those parts of nature which do not have any legs. On the other hand, they are still alive and they do still make up an important part of our ecosystem, the plants. How many species of animal can you name? 10, 20, 30, maybe more? How many species of plant can you name? Maybe not quite as many. Can a plant capture your attention the way the eyes of an animal can? Awesome. Well, without plants, we would suffocate and starve, as would animals. So if plants are the basis of all life on Earth, then when we say save the planet, we are actually saying save the plants. Save the plants and save the habitats and save the bio. And so how are we doing with that? How are you on a personal level doing with that? Saving the planet. If you're anything like me, you're wondering if you're doing enough. You're wondering if you're doing anything at all. And you're actually not sure that you can do anything at all. So, you. I don't know you, right? If you were to suddenly come up to me with a worried look on your face and say, "Save me," my reaction would be confusion, bewilderment. I'd be scared because you seem scared. I might even have some anxiety about this, right? On the other hand, if I knew you, or even if I'd spent an hour talking to you, I would have a much better idea of what it is that you need and whether or not I could help you, and even whether or not you needed saving. It's the same with our planet. So in the next 20 minutes, I'm going to ask you to come with me on a little bit of a reconnaissance tour of plants. We're going to just look at plants to see really how much they impact our lives already. Also, how similar and how different they are to us as humans, and also what potential benefit they could be to us. Okay? At the end, I will maybe surprise you with a little bit of a statement. I'm hoping to blow your socks off. But the statement goes something like, evolution has not finished its course yet. And possibly, we could adapt now an approach to plants which would allow us a practical, no-cost way of living, a way to do our part, which brings joy to ourselves and doesn't affect our pocketbook. Okay? So let's get started. First of all, I want you to consider this question. Are you more plant or more plastic? Okay? And to answer this question, you're going to need to keep track of your score. So get something that you can keep track of your score. You're going to need to keep track of your scores. Figure out how you're going to keep track of your score here. Aha! If you instinctively reached for your phone, guess what? You get 1 point for plastic. And if you realize that you have 10 fingers, then you get a point for plant, because of course we are part of nature. All right, let's keep going. Question number 1. Where are you? Same place I am. And despite the big wall of greenery out there in the hall there, we are very much in a plastic environment, okay? We could be in the beautiful sunshine outside and be more plant. A little bit more about that later though. All right, so these questions, next part of these questions deal with our roots. Okay, so where are you? Part of your roots. Where do you live? Don't tell me, just tell yourself whether it's plastic or plant. Which would you say? Likely you have both in your home. But would you say your home is more plastic or more plant? Another point is, where do you spend your time, your daytime? Do you spend it in an environment with more plastic or more plant? Okay, so good so far? All right, let's move to our input. We've talked about our roots, let's move to our input. See my leaf over here? My input is everything that I consume. Let's talk about it. What do you eat? Do you eat more plant or more plastic? What do you wear? Do you wear more plant or more plastic? Yes? Oh, thank you for asking. I actually have a booth that has all clothing made from plants, because I make it, right? So clothing made from plants could be any natural fiber. So it could be, in my case it's tencel, which is eucalyptus. It could be linen, which is flax. It could be cotton, it could be wool, it could be hemp. Okay, so we have a number of natural fibers available to us. Yes, so. On the other hand, plastic would be polyester, rayon, acetate, those things. Okay. All right, so what do you wear? What do you use to entertain yourself? More plastic or more plant? That's my intake. Let's talk about my output. What do you produce? What do you make? What do you work at? What do you produce when you work? What do you think about? More plastic or more plant? Okay, so that's my output. Let's talk about my digestion, which by the way plants also do. Digestion referring to habituation, regulation, those sorts of things. Here's my first question to you. How do you deal with stress? Plastic or plant? What do you go to for support? How do you deal with problems? More plastic or more plant? I'm a therapist. You know where I'm coming from. All right, so that's my digestion. Finally, we're going to look at my flower. Okay. What do you use to create your outward appearance? What do you use to create your facial features, whatever you present to the world, including your words? Okay? Are your words more plastic or more plant? You are really coming along nicely with me, you guys, because you do seem to understand what I'm talking about, even though this is very kind of out there. So I do appreciate that. And I appreciate the comments and questions too. So what did you notice? I'm wondering specifically about you, whether there's an area, your roots, your intake, your output, your digestion, regulation, or your flower that you can improve on, that you can move from plastic to plant. Possibly there's an area or two, and we'll come back to that a little later. Is there anything you wanted to tell me about your findings? Is there anything you wanted to share with me? Yeah. Is it? Your intake. Right. Yeah. Interesting. Does anyone else agree? I was just going to say that, yeah? I guess we've come that way, haven't we? My noticing is when I go to some places where I shop, I'm very unfulfilled. For me, the grocery store now is more plastic than plant. And I find in an environment like this is better than a mall. For me, this is more satisfying than a mall, because as a vendor, I'm hearing, so nice to meet you, right? I'm hearing, thank you for, whatever. And to me, this is a natural, this is a human thing that we're meeting face to face, and we're not, right? I see very few people on their phone. We're talking. We're talking among each other. But I got to say that I feel more satisfied when I'm at a farmer's market than when I'm here. So for me, that's how the range goes. I'm also noticing as a vendor that a lot of people have sensitivities and allergies, and I'm wondering if that's as a result of our agriculture system and our processed foods and things like that. I do want to remind you that the statistics show today we are spending 93% of our daylight hours indoors. That's a huge number. And when you think about the fact that we evolved in the wild and we used to eat everything from the wild, our intestines have not changed. And yet we are now so much more accustomed to plastic than we are plant. Let's try something different now. So we'll move on from how much is plastic in your life already, or plant in your life already, to how similar to plant and plastic are we as how similar to plant are we as human beings? So are you ready for this? Awesome, you guys are great. Okay, so I'm going to give you some behaviors. I want you to decide whether or not humans are the only ones that can do this behavior. On the other hand, if you feel that plants are the only ones that can do this behavior, I gotta tell you, if you feel humans are the only ones that can do this behavior, I want you to move over to this side of the area here. If you feel plants are the only ones that can do this behavior, move over to this side. And if you feel that both can do this, congregate towards the middle. Are you ready? So basically it's a Venn diagram is what it is, right? Okay, here we go. First thing, scream. Scream. Don't scream, don't scream. Are humans the only ones that can scream? Are plants the only ones that can scream? Can both scream? smart people. Wonderful. All right, so they do say that trees scream when water flowing up the trunk is interrupted. But it's at supersonic levels, and we can't hear it. But it's like a windpipe, exactly what they what they do have. Okay? All right, next one. Communicate. Humans only, plants only, both. Communicate. You're sticking. Woo. Way to go. Trees warn each other through their roots of any impending danger, including animals, foraging animals. Taste. You're sticking. You would say both. That's why you're sitting right where you're sitting. Somebody not sure. Moving over to plant side. Plants can taste. You're sure about that. You mean human. Okay. All right. So this is maybe a new fact for you, which is wonderful. This is my purpose of being here. Trees taste insect saliva, and then they make a tannin which discourages the insects from chewing, from eating. Okay? They taste it, so kind of. All right. How much time do we have? I'm not sure. How much time do we have? 15. All right. I'm going to skip a couple of these. Oh, recognize and talk to their young. Recognize and talk to their young, their kin. What do you think? Can plants do that? Pretty sure. So mother trees in a natural environment, they drop their seeds, and what they do is they cover them with their branches so that quite a bit of the light, up to 60% of the light, does not get through. So that builds their resistance, so that when the mother tree dies, that the young ones can grow. And they also nourish them through their roots. Pretty amazing. Let's find some interesting ones. Oh, sleep. Sleep. Both? Both, yeah. So trees actually diminish in diameter. The trunk diminishes in diameter, not a lot, 0.05 of a millimeter. But they also hang their branches lower at night. Skip forward. Although I do want to share these with you. Oh, here's a good one. Practice contraception. Come on, I got you on this one, for sure. No, you're still sticking in the middle. You're right. Trees, again, time their seed dispersal so that there is biodiversity, so that there's a lot of diversity in the forest, in a natural setting, again. How about here? You got me. Like you're onto my pattern. Are you gonna move? No, you're not gonna move. Okay. Plants orient their roots towards certain frequencies. So the sound of rushing water, they can detect and move towards it, and they can also move away from caterpillars munching. But plants do not orientate themselves toward our voices. There was a thing going around a while ago that said if you talk to your plants, they'll grow more. But it doesn't seem to be true. Photosynthesize. Just to make sure you're not sleeping, photosynthesize. There we go, you're not sleeping. Very good. How about this one? Think. Kind of in the middle. Not too committed here. Okay. Trees have a sucrose version of the stuff that our brains are made out of. So they are neurologically able to think. So they have the parts. We just don't know whether or not they actually do it.
It's just like going from winter to winter, fall to winter, you know when to go to sleep, you know
That's true. So this is because of their hormones. So they are able to, they have a circadian rhythm, right? So there, okay. Let's move on, shall we? Let's move on. So I would love to share the rest of them with you, but I think I've piqued your interest just a little bit to learn a little bit more about plants. Okay, the next part is what can plants do for us potentially? Okay, so for this one, I'm going to let you know of 8 benefits of plants. Okay, what I want you to do is, if you already knew this fact, but you're kind of not doing anything about it, you already knew it, right? Give yourself a thumbs up. On the other hand, if you knew it and you're actually using it right now, you're actually gaining the benefit of the plants in this way, I'd like you to give the person beside you a high five. Are you ready? Which card am I at here? Okay, first one. Outdoor activities such as gardening, hiking, etc. give us fresh air and vitamin D. We're all using it. Fabulous. The color green has a relaxing effect on our psyche. We're already green. We are already green. The presence of plants makes people more generous, trusting, and empathetic. And the more immersed in nature you are, the greater the effect. Yes? So not just a fake plant on your desk, right? You gotta have a little more if you want more benefit. Flowers alter our brain's electrical activity by increasing the alpha waves. So alpha rhythm is neurological nourishment. So if you've got flowers with you at all times, or as much as you can, then you are giving your brain food. Here's 2 things about going into nature. Going into nature boosts our immune function through the parasympathetic visual and auditory stimuli. That means when we're in nature, the things we see and the things we hear boost our immune system. They make us more, right? High five, make us more resistant to diseases and sicknesses. Another one, being in nature boosts our digestive function, also through parasympathetic nervous system. So it helps you digest your food, the things that you smell and the things that you taste, which is those who are late. Next one, hopefully you've not had to use antibiotics, but antibiotics have been derived from the chemical plants use to ward off insects that are attacking them. Okay, so that's where our antibiotics have come from originally.
It's a combination of plant and
Yes, it's a combination of plants and chemicals at this point, yes. So the last part that I want to suggest to you is the doctrine of signatures. If you've heard of the doctrine of signatures, give me a thumbs up. In the long version of my talk, I teach you how to do this. It's a way of reading plants. And it came from, in prior cultures, before we had computers, before we even had written word, like we can look it up in a book, what a plant can do for us. We used to have to decide what a plant, what the benefit of a plant was based on how it looked, the shape of it, the color of it, and also the habit of it, where it was growing, how it was growing. Okay? So that's called the doctrine of signatures, because each plant has a signature that kind of gives us a clue as to what part of our body it can help. I find it very fascinating. All right, so now let's turn to evolution and my startling suggestion that I have for you today. So, who came first? Plants or humans? Plants. And by how much? Several million years. So let's consider the amount of time. So plants, terrestrial plants, so we're not talking about water plants, we're talking about plants on Earth. Terrestrial plants, let's say they started growing, so came onto the Earth, at hour 0, second 1. Okay, so in a 24-hour span, plants came onto the Earth at 0, 0, and 1 second. Okay? 5 letters, because this is left to right for you, right? So 0, 0, 1. Okay, 24 hours goes by. No, we're in this 24-hour span. When did humans get here? Was it 10 o'clock in the morning? 12? 16? 20 o'clock? 21 o'clock? When do you think? All right, it may surprise you to know that humans woke up at 23:54. 6 minutes before now. In a 24-hour span, 6 minutes ago, we arrived. So that kind of makes me think, why are we here? Not why are plants here, why are we here? And what about all that we're so much smarter, faster, better than plants? And what about conserving plants and saving the planet? And maybe nature will disappear if it's not for our conservation or our control. So it puts a little bit of a different light on all of those topics. So I'm going to give you 3 ideas right now, and then I'll tell you my suggestion. Succession, the term succession, is when species gradually change their very environment to better the chances of their own survival. Co-evolution involves 2 species affecting the evolution of each other so that both groups develop traits in response to the other. And finally, adaptation involves individual organisms not only getting what they need to survive, but also working together to create an emergent adapted whole. So, is it possible? Is it possible that the survival of humanity depends upon a symbiotic relationship with plants? I'll say that again. Is it possible that the survival of humanity depends on a symbiotic relationship with plants? So what can we do to become more plant? Think back now to your roots, your intake, your output, your digestion, your flower. Remember what you thought you could do more plant-ish. And now I'm going to give you my 3 takeaways, which I hope will help you to be more plant-ish. Number 1, actually, so I think this is more about, less about saving, conserving, less about even using plants, and more about serving plants. So serving plants as I would serve a lover. In fact, it was Valentine's Day when this kind of occurred to me, because on my social media I put Mother Nature as my Valentine. And then I tried to figure out, well, how can I make Mother Nature my Valentine? And it occurred to me that if I take an attitude or approach of serving nature as I would serve a lover, that I'm more along the lines of a symbiotic relationship. So my 3 takeaways are, number 1, visit Mother Nature every day. If I have a lover, I would want to visit them every day. Number 2, and this is where the joy comes in, delight in doing things for Mother Nature. Delight in it. Allow it to bring you joy, to do something for Mother Nature. And number 3, in every decision, consider Mother Nature's needs and try to come up with a solution that is win-win. And even more than that, that is that emergent whole that we talked about. So thank you very much for your participation today. Thank you for growing with me today.